Welcome to Student Spotlight, where each month we'll be spotlighting a different graduate student from the English department at Oklahoma State. My name is Sean Coolican, the English grad student coordinator, and I'll be your host. And today I'm very excited to meet with our guest from the Screen Studies program, Tara Lenertz. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. So Tara, the way this thing works is I ask you 5 questions and you give us 5 answers. Sound good?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Question number 1. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're working on here at OSU?
Yeah, sure. I'm a third year PhD student, and so I'm just finishing up coursework this semester. So I'm moving into my dissertation work, preparing towards my qualifying exams, writing my prospectus, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so what I'm really interested in is the concept of useful cinema and how film might be used in carceral settings for education and rehabilitation. I don't know if that makes sense, sorry.
No, yeah.
Yeah, basically incorporating film programs into a prison education system. There's the Federal Bureau of Prison Education System is pretty like laid out how they do things, but I think within each institution they are flexible to incorporating and doing different things. Specifically, like San Quentin does a lot of educational podcasting and film programs and stuff like that within their carceral settings, but it depends on the state and what kind of funding opportunities there are. So I'm kind of exploring like where I could get in one of those institutions when I'm finished. But for my dissertation work, I want to study what I could maybe do there and how film could help with education and rehabilitation in those settings.
That is so great. Wow. That's awesome to hear. I have not heard about anybody else in our program, doing work like that. It reminds me of, sorry, I'm going off script here for a sec.
No, that's okay.
I had a professor at San Diego State, Hal Jaffe, and he ran the Fiction International Journal, but he would get submissions from prisoners.
Mhm.
Yeah, and publish their poems and short stories.
Yeah, there have been too, just to add on to that, some incarcerated people who have submitted like film reviews and things like that they submit to places like Vanity Fair and things like that. So there is still a way for them, even though they're incarcerated, for people who are still citizens to interact and participate in the media and art community. And I think that's really interesting.
Yes, it is. That's awesome. Thank you. Question number 2, why did you choose to come to OSU?
I did my master's in film and I wanted to stick with a film program. And so I looked around and explored different film programs around the country. And I kind of wanted to look into one that was also situated within the English department, because that was the experience I had at North Carolina State, where the film studies was within the English umbrella. And so I was just like, I honestly just like was Googling around and I saw Oklahoma State's Screen Studies program and I read about it on the page, and then I opened up and read about Dr. Meny and Dr. Yulin and Dr. Takis, and I was really interested in working with them, and it seemed like a great community, and it has proven to be. So yeah, that's why I chose here. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe our Screen Studies program does have a national reputation. I remember I talked to a professor here in San Diego and told her I was going to OSU. First thing she said was, "Oh, they have a really good Screen Studies program."
Yeah, and it really, it's nice because a lot of the programs that I found and looked into were like, and I love literature, but they were like half lit, half film, or like half film, half excuse me, like a digital communication or like a digital rhetoric, which is great and fascinating. But I really just wanted to focus my interests like in film, because that's what I love, and I love that OSU has that. And it being situated within the English department, I had experience teaching composition, so I knew that I would still get to I would still get to have fun teaching comp and then maybe teaching film, which I've been able to do. And also I love working at the Writing Center, and I found all of those things were GTA opportunities at OSU. So yeah, a combination of just really being impressed by the faculty and the program and the assistantship opportunities. It was just like a bundle So it
Yeah.
was pretty easy decision to make. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Question number three. What are some of the best things about this program that have happened to you that you'd like to share?
Hmm. Um, I really like how this program emphasizes professional development opportunities, how we are encouraged to apply for conferences and attend conferences, and there are scholarship and grant opportunities to support us in that. And also, yeah, sorry, that's like a weird way to answer, but I just feel like there's always an encouragement to do stuff outside of the classroom. Like it's not just inside the classroom. There's support from the faculty and staff in our endeavors, like taking our knowledge that we get in the classroom and bringing it elsewhere, such as like the Southern Plains Conference, which you know well about.
Mhm.
Looking forward to that. So yeah, I think there's just like a lot of support for our individual interests as
Yeah.
well. Like if you want to do for dissertation work, like a director genre study, or if you want to do something like what I'm looking into, it's really, I feel like the faculty and staff really support you in like any of your, you know, unique interests. So they like treat each student as an individual, which I think
Yeah.
is great, rather than trying to put like a one size fits all like program on
Yeah.
people. Yeah. I did that answer the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, thank you. I totally agree. I feel like I've had professors from, yeah, different areas, of the English department who have really supported me as well.
hmm Yeah, I've had so much positive interaction with all of the like literature teachers, the instructors, I shouldn't say teachers, sorry, the professors and instructors from literature courses that I've had have been very supportive in me doing like a film adaptation as a final project. And then for my film instructors, like letting me be creative with the way that I want to take like a paper for a seminar class, but maybe use it in a way that'll work towards something for my dissertation interests as well. So yeah,
Mhm.
just like all of that fluidity. Very nice.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Excellent. Question number four. Do you have any advice for other students and future students?
Yeah. So as like a non-traditional first generation student, I do deal with a lot of imposter syndrome and self-doubt. But I know that it is unnecessary, and so I have to amp myself up and just, you know, keep thinking about all of the work that I want to do and try to encourage myself. And so my advice to anyone would be to don't doubt yourself. And if you want to do it, you'll do it, and you've made it this far. So don't stop, just keep going. And imposter syndrome is just, it's just a thing, and everyone deals with it at some point, and you have a whole group of people to support you through it, so just keep going.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, thank you. Last question. Question number five. What's one fun, unique hobby, interest, or memory that you'd like to share? This could be related to OSU and your focus, or just completely random.
Hmm. um so I did think about this question um just now. I'm just thinking I have a lot of I definitely love screenwriting, and that's an interesting. I don't know if that's an interesting hobby, but that's something that I love to do. But I think a really interesting memory that relates to my love for film and like what maybe brought me here today was, I know this is too corny, stop me if it is, but when I was a little kid, I remember, like, gosh, I might have been like first grade, second grade, and I was sick, and I was at home, and I was sick for like 3 days, and we had HBO, and there was a Rambo marathon, and I watched all the Rambos over and over again, and I just fell in love with action movies and Sylvester Stallone and cinema. I think that was like my moment where I was like, I love cinema. And yeah, I think that to me, whenever I think back to like why I love film so much, are those like formative memories of the first films that I love. And I know it sounds weird, like a little girl watching Rambo and whatever, but that's okay. It's all good. Yeah, and then growing up, I did have issues in school where I was bullied and didn't have a lot of friends, but I always had my film friends, and so film has always meant so much to me in that way. And I think that's, I don't know if that answers the question. It's like an interesting memory, but I think that was the catalyst for my love
Yeah.
of film.
Yeah, great answer. And I am also a fan. Yeah, when First Blood came out, I believe it was based on a book, and
Yes.
it was like, kind of, serious. And then I
hmm
remember I grew up in the 80s, and that summer that Rambo First Blood Part 2 came out, and it just blew the
Yes.
doors off. It was like huge
Oh,
blockbuster. Yeah.
and it's really so great. I love that you remember that as well. And I think it just does so well mixing these like genres like the melodrama and the action film and like kind of like the social cultural sort of introspective look into like this niche group. Just yeah, and how like film adaptation can change the way we read something and how it looks. Because I read the book and it's a little bit different than the film. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's great that you remember that film's
Of
coming
course
out
I do. I
too.
mean, that was 80s. That was, Reagan was president and there was, Cold War was still kind of going on. And
Yeah,
so, you know, at the end you
yeah,
got Rambo fighting, the Russians, I mean,
yeah,
it was definitely like very political too, wasn't it?
yeah. And every Rambo film kind of responds to a political moment, it feels like,
Mhm.
from the first one dealing with Vietnam veterans returning and dealing with either being shunned or reacclimating themselves into society,
Right.
or Rambo 2, which was, you know, trying to rescue prisoners of war, Rambo 3, Afghanistan, Rambo 4, Burma, Myanmar. And it's interesting how each Rambo kind of responds to I'm sorry, I'm rambling about Rambo. That's not what
Oh,
this
that's
is
great.
for. Sorry. You can edit all this out. That's fine.
No, you're absolutely right, though. Like each of those films did. It was, yeah, I forgot about Rambo 3 because Rambo 3 wasn't as big as Rambo 2, wasn't it? But yeah, it was about Afghanistan, right?
Hmm.
The Russians in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, this is great. Yeah, I love talking about it. Yeah. Thank
Yeah. And
you.
thank you for sharing your memories of it coming out as well. Like, I'm
Yeah.
glad that it had impact on you.
Yeah, I'm a big film buff as well. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tara. This was a great interview, and thanks for being on our show. And thank you to our viewers for watching. And yeah, we'll see you next month for another episode of Student Spotlight. Thanks again, Tara.
Thank you.